I don't I cannot for the life of me remember anything other than like 3 days combined of elementary school. But I remember doing like a single school project, a single math exam. This is fifth grade, by the way, all fifth grade. A single school project for TPSP or whatever. A single math exam that I failed and then got to retake because the teacher thought I was faking being that dumb. And so he was like, listen, I'm going to have you sit away from the rest of the class. I'm going to let you focus on the test. You're not dumb. You're smart. You can do this. And I actually got like double the grade retaking it. And
It's that placebo effect. It works.
yeah, ever since then I've been in advanced. I was in advanced classes. But
I see.
one thing I don't remember where I was going with this.
Oh,
Oh,
you learned about sex from like a fifth grader.
yeah. One thing I
Oh, yeah,
remember
fifth grade. I
was
don't know.
sitting in the teacher's class. I almost said his name. Um, sitting in his class, and I don't remember what he was teaching about. I think he was teaching about terrariums or something. And this kid named Elijah leans over, and I don't know what the hell he was like thinking at that time or what he had seen the day before, but he leans over to me and he whispers, "Do you know what sex is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. But just to confirm that you know what it is, tell me what it is, so I know that you know." I said that. I said like that thing exactly, and he's like, "Okay, so you don't know." And it's like, "Yeah, no, I don't know. Tell me." And then he told me what sex was, and then like less than a week later, we went to like this school assembly. All the fifth graders went for like the basic sex education, where it's like, all right, so the daddy and the mommy they get together, and
Oh, when a daddy and mommy love each other very much.
they get drunk one night and they decide to have a kid, and then they wake up in the morning and regret it. But oops, it's already too late.
And that's how all of you were conceived.
Yeah. But yeah, basically he just told me what sex was in the middle of like fifth grade class when we were supposed to be learning about terrariums.
Uh, well, that's that's one way to learn about it.
Yeah. Also, I'm keeping note of the time. It's been 15 minutes, including the intro parts where I can cut out a bit, and so that's a perfect place to cut off for episode 1. What do you want to talk about for episode 2?
Let's see.
We can still talk about school stories. All four of
I'm not
my
really good at topics. I'm trying to think.
yeah, all four of my
Yeah,
first episodes were school.
yeah, we can still do school stuff. So let me think. Yeah. Yeah, we can still do school stuff.
Maybe we could talk about high school more. Because, like, there were stuff that I didn't cover with Nick because we
Yeah.
didn't share any classes together.
I I more I remember more stuff about high school, middle school, so that's probably better.
Yeah. The first thing that
I
comes
can
to mind
tell more stuff about that.
the first thing that comes to mind with our shared classes was that time that I told our history teacher that I was going to watch hentai accidentally.
No, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of high school is you telling me that Kwame looks like the kind of dude gets beat by his wife.
Oh yeah, Kwame, he sure was a character. He looks like the type. That's very dark humor. I wouldn't make that joke today, but I can appreciate the joke as a past joke. Looks like he gets beat by his wife. And
Listen,
comes
it
to
was high school. It was high school. It's a very dark time.
Yeah, we were coping. He was a terrible teacher. I think he deserved it. He like asked me if I was the R word in front of the entire class, like the R slur, and
In that thick accent of his.
yeah, and then I don't know if you were there, but he told us to go to a local Subway, go up to the cashier or one of the sandwich makers, and asked them what went wrong in their life where they ended up working at Subway.
I wasn't there, no.
Well, that was the thing he said.
The only memory I have from Kwame's class was Jeffrey yelling the N-word, and Kwame looked right at him for like 10 seconds.
Really? I'm gonna look up his first name.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look up Kwame and see if anything comes up, so I know if I have to censor that or not. It's an American rapper. We can say it. They can just
Yeah,
imagine.
you don't have to censor anything. We can just call him Kwame.
Yeah.
That's how we don't say his full name. We'll be fine.
Yeah, as long as we. Kwame, terrible teacher.
I guess what we need is we can just call teachers by our last name, or whatever, or just by their first letter of their name.
Yeah, like Miss R, our history teacher, that before spring break, I believe,
Yeah.
asked us what our plans were. I said, just simple stuff. I'm gonna catch up on shows. I'm gonna start a new show, actually. And she was like, oh, what show are you gonna start watching? And I was like, oh, just an anime. And she's like, well, which anime? Because I didn't know that she was that into anime at the time. I said, oh, Kakegurui. I've seen it on Netflix, and I've been meaning to check it out. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. And I didn't know at the time, but Kakegurui is borderline hentai.
No, it's gambling hentai.
It is. And she said it was a really good one in front of the entire class, and to me.
It's just like how Food Wars is food hentai.
Yeah. Fun fact, the author of Food Wars...
I've only seen some of Kakegurui. I haven't seen all of Kakegurui yet.
I have. Through season 2. It's a good enough story to where if you ignore the hentai parts, it's like maybe a B minus.
That sounds like most anime I watch.
Yeah. What's another good story? We have Mr. C, the best teacher in the school.
Yo, Mr. C, are you a top or a bottom? No.
Yeah, I asked him that one day.
Yeah, you did. and then when you look at you, you're just like, I meant bunk beds. What do you think I meant?
Yeah, we assaulted that teacher. We verbally assaulted that teacher on a near daily basis, and I'm surprised
and then for
he
our
didn't kick
and
us
for
out.
that one assignment.
Oh, are you talking about the
Yeah,
Photoshop?
he would, if he could, he would have. No, I'm talking about the story making.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this
The
was
story making assignment.
This was video game design class, and basically,
Where one of those stories was just softcore hentai.
yeah, we were practicing on a website where you like type in your own story, and then you choose which words you can click on to lead to another panel, which was more story, and it was like a choose your own adventure game. And he gave us some links that were examples of stories on the website, but I don't think he checked them. He just chose the top 2 or top 3, because one of them was a normal like journey out west adventure. One of them was about a lesbian superhero and her best friend talking about how weird, how oddly good it felt to be held down by a tentacle monster. And another one was about a lesbian cowboy or a cowgirl discovering that she's lesbian.
Like the one sentence I remember from the superhero one was just the tentacle pressed firmly against my thigh.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of that and emailed it to the teacher, and he responded like, his only response was just "oh."
And when I read that, I was like, Mr. No, I said his name.
I can censor
Whatever.
it. Well, there's probably like a million of him.
Just censor it. I said, hey, Mr. C, just cut it out. I said, hey, Mr. C, aren't these stories a bit mature for us?
Yeah, and he
And
admitted
then he
that
came over and looked at them at my computer. He's like, "Oh,"
yeah.
because like my computer was the first time he read them, and he's like, "Oh."
I looked up his name. We're good. Apparently, there's a cartoon character
Okay,
named
well,
after it.
whatever.
Anyways,
There's a cartoon character named after him. Okay.
there's two. There's one from thepoke.co.uk and one from a show called Camp Camp.
I see.
Anyways,
Yeah, we're probably good.
yeah, um, one time I think I was sitting next to you actually, and we were working on
No, you were.
we were working on games. I think you were almost done with it. I was completely done with it, and the rest of the class was like halfway. And Mr. C went up to the front and was like,
That class.
hmm?
That class didn't do shit.
"Yeah, Martin slept through a fire alarm." That's the guy from last session. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember his
Yeah,
name.
I remember. I remember that. We came back, we saw him sleep under the desk.
Yeah, Mr. C was like,
Yeah, we came back and he was sleeping under the desk, and we're like, "What were you doing?"
yeah, Mr. C was like, "Has he been there
Yeah.
the whole time?" And we're like, "Yeah, we don't remember him following us out." And he was like, "Let's not tell anyone about this." How tired do you have to be to sleep
Alright, so what about
through
the
a
game
fire
assignment?
alarm? Oh yeah, games.
Very.
You were almost done. I was done. The rest of the
I
class was
remember what
like
this one was.
halfway, and Mr. C went up to the front of the class and was like giving instructions, and I just said out of nowhere, "Shut up, Mr. C, you beautiful man." he, he stopped talking for like a solid minute. He just stood there for like a solid minute in awe before saying, "Thank you," and going back to what he was saying.
He's probably thinking like the balls this kid has to tell me to shut the hell up.
And then follow it up by calling me a beautiful man.
Intimidation tactic.
I was wheezing for a second. Then there was the time where he he was just on his computer, and I asked him, "Hey, Mr. C, are you a top or are you a bottom?" And he was like, well, you're not allowed to ask me questions like that." I said, "What? I'm talking about bunk beds. Like, do you choose the top bunk or the bottom bunk?" He was like, "Yeah, I knew that. That's what I was talking about too. It's not an appropriate question for while you're trying to do work." And I said, "Oh yeah, you knew that's what I was talking about? Yeah, your internet history doesn't say that." Or something like that.
No. One thing I remember is that like I think it was like the fifth graders were coming to visit the high school this one day,